The club was supposed to be my last night. Last night dancing before I disappeared into witness protection. Last night, I breathed free air before I testified against the Valdez cartel and became a ghost. I was 3 songs into my final set, contemporary fusion, the kind that made grown men forget their names, when he walked in. Alonso Torres. I knew who he was. Everyone in this city knew. The man who'd built an empire on calculated violence and strategic brutality. The mafia boss who made people disappear with a phone call. And he was watching me like I was already his. My handler had been explicit. No interactions. No attention.
No memorable performances.
Just blend in, collect your last paycheck, and meet me at dawn. So naturally, when my set ended and Alonso approached the stage, when he leaned against the railing with that predatory smile, when he said, "Dance for me again. Privately. And I'll make you my wife." I should have walked away. Should have declined. Should have remembered I was 3 days from testifying against his biggest rival. Instead, I looked at this dangerous man with his impossible offer and said, "I don't dance privately. And I definitely don't marry men who think women are prizes to be won." His smile widened. "Then I'll change your mind. You have 3 days. Dance for me each night. By the end, you'll accept both offers. And if I don't, then I'll let you disappear. But Diane Estes, my real name, not my stage name, my actual, hidden, witness protection name. I think you'll stay. Because running from the Valdez cartel is exhausting. And I can offer you something better than protection." "What's that?" "Power.
Partnership.
And a life where you never have to hide again." What I didn't know, what he couldn't have known, was that in 3 days, everything would explode. The Valdez cartel would make their move. My testimony would become worthless. And I discovered that Alonso Torres wasn't offering marriage. He was offering war. And I was about to become his most dangerous weapon. Hold up. A professional dancer about to enter witness protection gets a marriage proposal from a mafia boss who somehow knows her real name? And she has 3 days before she testifies against his rival cartel? This is about to get insane. Subscribe now because what happens in those 3 days is going to explode. Someone's running a game.
Someone's going to die.
And it might be everyone. My name is Diane Estes, and 6 months ago, I made the mistake of falling in love with the wrong man.
Rafael Valdez. Charming.
Wealthy. Obsessed with me in a way that felt romantic until it became terrifying. I was a professional dancer. Not exotic. Not stripping. Professional contemporary dance with a company that performed at corporate events, weddings, high-end clubs. I met Rafael at one of those events. A charity gala. He'd watched my performance with an intensity that should have warned me. Instead, I was flattered. We dated for 3 months. 3 months of expensive dinners, private planes, constant attention that felt like love but was actually surveillance. 3 months before I realized the man I was dating was a cartel lieutenant. That his import business was cocaine and heroin. That the people who disappeared around him weren't relocating, they were dying. I tried to leave. He made it clear I couldn't. "You know too much," he'd said, his hand around my throat, pressing me against the wall of his penthouse. "You've seen too much. You're mine until I say otherwise." That night I ran. Straight to the FBI. Spent 2 months in protective custody. Gave them everything. Names.
Dates.
Shipment routes. Meeting locations. Everything I'd overheard while pretending to be the devoted girlfriend. The FBI was ecstatic. My testimony could dismantle half the Valdez operation. They set me up with a new identity. New apartment. A normal job at a mid-tier dance club while waiting for the trial. "Keep your head down," my handler, Agent Leonard Brooks, told me. 3 more days. Then you testify and we relocate you permanently. New city. New name. New life. 3 days. I could survive 3 days. Except I'd underestimated how small this city's criminal underworld actually was. How someone like Alonso Torres would notice a professional dancer hiding in a second-rate club, would recognize me, would know exactly who and what I was, would make me an offer I couldn't refuse. The club was called Velvet Underground. Ironic name for a place that was about as underground as a highway billboard. I danced there 5 nights a week. Contemporary routines set to pop and electronic music. Nothing sexual. Nothing exploitative. Just movement.
Art.
The thing I'd trained my entire life to do. My last scheduled performance was on a Wednesday. Agent Brooks had arranged to extract me at dawn Thursday. Drive me to a safe house. Keep me isolated until my Monday testimony. I'd choreograph something special for tonight. A final performance. A goodbye to the only thing I'd ever been good at. The routine was 6 minutes. Emotive. Powerful. About captivity and freedom and the liminal space between. I was 3 minutes in, the part where the music drops and the movement becomes desperate, almost violent, when I felt it. Someone watching. Not casual observation. Focused attention that made my skin prickle. I scanned the crowd without breaking character. Found him immediately. Alonso Torres. Seated at a VIP table. Alone. Watching me like I was the only person in the building, like everyone else had faded to background noise. My blood ran cold. I knew his face from FBI briefings. The Torres organization and the Valdez cartel were bitter rivals. Territorial disputes that ended in bodies. Business competition that destroyed families. If Alonso knew I was connected to Rafael, if he knew I was the witness who would testify against the Valdez operation, I was dead. I forced myself to finish the routine. Professional. Controlled. Like I hadn't just spotted a predator in the audience who could end everything with a phone call. The music ended. Applause. I bowed. Retreated backstage on legs that threatened to give out. Grabbed my phone to text Agent Brooks. We have a problem. Torres is here. I need extraction now. Before I could send it, the backstage door opened. Diane Estes. Not my stage name. Maya Rivers, the identity the FBI had created. My real name, the one only Agent Brooks knew. Alonso Torres stood in the doorway. Behind him, 2 men in suits that didn't quite hide their shoulder holsters. Security. Blocking any exit. You're not supposed to be back here, I said, keeping my voice steady despite my hammering heart. I go wherever I want. He moved into the room like he owned it. Maybe he did. That was an exceptional performance. Thank you. Now if you'll excuse me. Dance for me again. I'm off for the night. Not a request from the club. A request from me. Privately. Just for my eyes. He moved closer. I forced myself not to retreat. Dance for me each night for the next 3 days, and I'll make you my wife. The absurdity of the statement should have made me laugh. Instead, it made me calculate. He knew my real name. Knew my timeline 3 days. This wasn't a random proposal. This was a power play. A demonstration of how thoroughly I wasn't hidden at all. I don't dance privately. And I don't marry men I don't know. Then get to know me. His smile was sharp enough to cut. 3 nights. 3 private performances. By the end, you'll understand exactly who I am. And you'll say yes to both. And if I refuse, then you disappear into witness protection. Live your safe, small life. Always running. Always hiding. Never dance professionally again because your identity is burned. He leaned against the makeup counter, perfectly at ease in my space.
Or you stay.
Marry me and never have to hide again. You're insane.
I am practical.
You need protection. I need a wife. The Valdez cartel wants you dead. I want them destroyed. Our interests align perfectly. You know about my testimony. I know everything about you, Diane. Where you've been hiding. Who your handler is. What you've agreed to testify about. He pulled out his phone. Showed me photos that made my stomach drop. Me entering FBI headquarters. Me with Agent Brooks at a supposed secret meeting. Me in my apartment that was supposed to be anonymous. You're not as hidden as you think. How did you? I own this city. The Valdez cartel thinks they run things, but they're sloppy. Brutal, without strategy. You saw that firsthand, didn't you? He put his phone away. I've been watching their operation for months, waiting for the right moment to dismantle them. And then you appeared. The perfect weapon. I'm not a weapon.
No.
You're a dancer. A brilliant one. But you could be so much more. He moved closer. Close enough that I could smell his cologne. Expensive, understated. Close enough that I could see the calculation in his dark eyes. Dance for me. Let me show you what real power looks like. And then decide. Do you want to disappear into nothing, or do you want to become a queen? Every instinct screamed to refuse. To run. To text Agent Brooks immediately and beg for emergency extraction. But a small part of me, the part that had spent 6 months terrified, hidden, reduced from a professional artist to a girl hiding in a second-rate club, was curious. What if he was right? What if there was another option besides hiding forever? What if I could actually have power instead of just protection? 3 nights, I said slowly. 3 private performances. Then I decide. Then you decide. Where? My estate. Tomorrow at midnight. A car will collect you from your apartment. He moved toward the door, his security parting to let him through. And Diane? Dressed like a woman who knows her worth, not a woman who's hiding. After he left, I locked the door with shaking hands, pulled out my phone, stared at Agent Brooks' number for 5 minutes. Then I made a decision that would change everything. I didn't call. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in my tiny apartment, 1 bedroom, barely furnished, the kind of place you lived when you knew you'd be leaving soon, and thought about Alonzo's offer. Marriage. To a mafia boss. It was insane. But so was spending the rest of my life as someone else. Never dancing professionally again. Never using my real name. Always looking over my shoulder, waiting for Raphael to find me. Because he would find me. Eventually. The Valdez cartel had resources. Connections. And Raphael was obsessed. He'd made that clear the night I'd left. You can run, he'd said, even as I'd backed toward the door with my bag packed. But you're mine. You'll always be mine. And when I find you, you'll wish you'd stayed. I've been running ever since. What if I could stop running? What if I could actually fight back? My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. The car will arrive at 11:45 p.m. tomorrow. Don't keep me waiting. I should have called Agent Brooks. Should have reported the contact. Should have followed protocol. Instead, I pulled out my laptop and started researching. Alonzo Torres. 35. 3rd generation Mexican-American. Inherited his father's organization at 25 after both parents were killed in what was officially ruled a car accident, but everyone knew it was a hit. He'd spent 10 years consolidating power, eliminating rivals, building an empire that was efficient, profitable, and significantly less violent than the Valdez cartel. Less violent. Not non-violent. The man was still a criminal. But the articles I found, buried in legitimate news sources, painted an interesting picture. The Torres organization was suspected of smuggling, but also ran legitimate import businesses. Protection rackets, but also actual security companies. Money laundering, but through real estate developments that revitalized neighborhoods. He was building something sustainable. Something that wouldn't just collapse the moment he died. Raphael, on the other hand, built everything on fear and chaos. His organization was brutal, unstable, constantly at war with itself and everyone else. I dug deeper. Found mentions of Alonzo's parents, Eduardo and Rosa Torres, killed in a car accident exactly 10 years ago. An accident that happened 3 days after Eduardo Torres had refused to partner with the Valdez cartel on a major shipment. An accident that the police had barely investigated. An accident that a younger Rafael Valdez had been rumored to orchestrate. My stomach clenched. Alonso's vendetta against the Valdez cartel wasn't just business. It was personal. He wanted revenge for his parents. And I was his opportunity. The question was, could I use his revenge for my own? The car arrived at exactly 11:45 p.m. Black SUV. Tinted windows. Professional driver who opened my door without speaking.
Іди драшакара фулі.
Not the revealing outfit Alonso might have expected. A sleek black dress. Elegant, expensive-looking, borrowed from a dancer friend. Movable. I needed to be able to dance in it if necessary.
Fight in it if it came to that.
My hair was up. Minimal jewelry. Professional. I looked like a woman going to a business meeting. Not a woman accepting a marriage proposal from a criminal. The drive took 40 minutes. Out of the city. Into the hills where the wealthy built estates with enough land that neighbors couldn't hear screaming. Alonso's estate was stunning. Mediterranean architecture. Security gates that probably cost more than my annual salary. Grounds lit tastefully, showing manicured gardens and a fountain. It looked like a resort. It was actually a fortress. The driver led me inside. Through marble halls hung with actual art, not prints, originals. Past rooms that suggested wealth accumulated over generations. We stopped at a set of double doors. The driver knocked once, then opened them. Ms. Estes, he announced, then stepped aside. The room was a ballroom. Actual ballroom with hardwood floors, floor-to-ceiling windows, a chandelier that probably cost more than my car. And in the center, standing alone, was Alonso Torres. He'd dressed for the occasion. Suit, perfectly tailored. He looked like he was attending the opera, not a private dance performance. You came, he said. I said I would. And you dress like a woman who knows her worth. Good. He gestured to the room. This is yours for the next hour. Dance however you want. I'll simply watch. That's it?
No requests?
No requirements. I want to see how you move when you're not performing for a crowd. When you're not hiding. When you're just yourself. He moved to a chair positioned against the wall. Saturday. Crossed his legs. Show me who Diane Estes really is. It was a challenge.
A test.
I could refuse. Walk out. End this before it began. Instead, I moved to the center of the room.
Kicked off my heels.
Felt the cool wood beneath my feet. Music? I asked. There's a system. Choose whatever you want. I pulled out my phone. Queued up something instrumental. Aggressive. The kind of music I'd danced to in my head during the worst moments with Raphael. The kind that felt like fighting. The music started. I started. This wasn't the pretty, palatable contemporary I performed at clubs. This was raw, violent. Every movement sharp and angry. I danced like I was fighting invisible enemies. Like I was breaking free of hands that held too tight. I danced my rage, my fear, my exhaustion. And Alonso watched. Didn't look away.
Didn't objectify.
Didn't interrupt. Just watched like he was reading a language only he understood. When the music ended, I stood in the center of the room, breathing hard, slightly sweaty, completely exposed. That, Alonso said quietly, was not what I expected. What did you expect? Something pretty? Something seductive? Yes, actually. Most women in your position would try to appeal to me that way. Try to use sexuality as a weapon. He stood. Approached slowly. You danced like you were at war. Like every movement was a declaration that you refused to be conquered. That's exactly what it was. I know. That's why you're perfect. Perfect for what? For what I actually need. Not a decorative wife. Not a trophy. Not someone to stand beside me looking beautiful while I do terrible things. He stopped a few feet away. I need a partner who understands warfare. Who knows how to fight. Who won't flinch when things get violent. You need a weapon. I need an equal. The word hung between us. You don't even know me, I said. I know you survived 6 months with Rafael Valdez. That takes strength most people don't have. I know you went to the FBI instead of running away silently. That takes courage. I know you've spent the past months hiding, probably terrified, definitely planning. He tilted his head. What have you been planning, Diane? Survival. Liar. You've been planning revenge. I can see it in how you move. You don't dance like a victim. You dance like someone preparing for battle. He was right. God help me, he was right. I'd spent 6 months telling myself I just wanted to survive, to testify and disappear and live quietly. But late at night, when I couldn't sleep, I'd been planning something else. Documenting everything. Gathering evidence beyond what the FBI had asked for. Building a case that would destroy Raphael completely. Not just put him in prison. Destroy him. Come with me, Alonzo said. There's something you need to see. He led me through the estate to a study, lined with bookshelves, dominated by a massive desk covered in files and photographs. This, he said, gesturing to the desk, is 10 years of work. 10 years of gathering evidence against the Valdez cartel. 10 years of waiting for the right moment to destroy them completely. I moved closer, saw photographs of Raphael, of his associates, of locations I recognized from my time with him. Why show me this? Because I want you to understand what you're walking into. If you marry me, if you become part of my organization, you become part of this vendetta, this war. He pulled out a specific photograph. His parents, younger, smiling. Raphael Valdez killed my parents 10 years ago. Murdered them because my father refused to do business with his cartel. And for 10 years, I've been planning how to make him pay. I'm sorry. I don't want your sympathy. I want your help. He set down the photograph. Your testimony will hurt Raphael, but it won't destroy him. His father will use connections to reduce his sentence. He'll be out in 5 years, maybe less. And he'll come for you the moment he's free. The FBI said witness protection is not protection. It's a temporary pause. Raphael has resources. Patience. He'll find you. You know he will. I did know. I'd known from the moment I'd agreed to testify that I was just delaying the inevitable. So, what are you offering instead?
Permanent solution.
Help me destroy the Valdez cartel completely. Not just Raphael. The entire organization. His father. His brothers. Everyone. Alonzo pulled out more files. I have evidence of trafficking, money laundering, connections to politicians who take bribes. Enough to dismantle them permanently. But I need someone who can testify to the personal details. Someone they'll underestimate.
Me. You.
But not as a government witness. As my wife. Protected by my organization. Untouchable. And after they're destroyed? What then? Then you're free. Truly free. You can dance. Use your real name. Live in daylight. And you'll have resources to build whatever life you want. Under your control. As my partner. There's a difference. I looked at the files. At the evidence of a decade of planning. At the photographs of Alonzo's parents, who died for refusing to do business with the people I dated. I need to think about it. You have 2 more nights. Use them wisely. A woman appeared in the doorway. Older than me. Beautiful in a sharp, dangerous way. She looked at Alonzo, then at me, with obvious suspicion. Sophia, Alonzo said. This is Diane Estes. Diane, my sister Sophia. She runs the legitimate side of our operations. The dancer, Sophia said. Her tone made it clear what she thought of that. The one you're supposedly marrying. Yes. Without consulting the family. Without proper courtship. Without any of the traditions that matter. Sophia's eyes narrowed at me. Are you pregnant?
No.
Then why the rush? That's my business, Alonzo said. Your business affects this entire family. This entire organization. Sophia stepped into the room fully. You're my brother, and I love you. But this is reckless. Marrying a stranger because she dances well. She's not a stranger. She's exactly who we need to finally destroy the Valdez cartel. Sophia went very still. She's connected to them? She dated Rafael Valdez. She's the government's star witness. And she's about to become my wife instead. This is insane. This is strategic. Sophia looked at me again, assessing differently now. Do you love my brother? I don't know your brother.
Exactly.
So this is a business arrangement? Yes. Then understand something, Ms. Estes. In our family, business arrangements are binding. If you agree, the check was real. I verified it 3 times. $50,000 from Alonzo Torres, memo line. Professional services. I could deposit it, disappear, use the money to start over somewhere the FBI hadn't planned for me. Or I could show up tomorrow night and see where this led.
My phone rang.
Agent Brooks. I stared at it for 3 rings before answering. Where the hell have you been? He demanded. I've been trying to reach you for hours. Your location tracker shows you were out of the city. I went for a drive. Needed to clear my head. You're not supposed to leave your apartment after dark. Those were the protocols. I'm going insane in that apartment. I needed air. 3 more days, Diane. That's all. Then you testify, and this is over. Is it? Is it really over, Agent Brooks? Because you've told me I'll be safe in witness protection, but Rafael has resources. Connections. What's to stop him from finding me in 2 years? 5 years. The program works. The program hopes. It doesn't guarantee. I took a breath. I want to know my options. All of them. Your option is to testify Monday and let us handle your security. That's the deal. What if there was another way? What if I could help you destroy the Valdez cartel completely? Not just Rafael, but the entire organization. What are you talking about? I'm talking about cooperation with someone who has detailed evidence. Someone who's been investigating them for years. Someone who wants them destroyed as badly as we do. Silence. Then, Diane, have you been contacted by someone? Has someone approached you? I thought about lying, about denying everything. Instead, hypothetically, if someone had evidence that could help the case, would the FBI be interested? That depends entirely on who that someone is and how they obtain the evidence. His voice turned sharp. Diane, if you've been contacted by anyone associated with criminal organizations, you need to tell me immediately. That could compromise the entire case. It's not compromising anything. It's expanding it. That's not your decision to make. You're a witness, not an investigator. Your job is to testify about what you personally experienced and then let us handle the rest. My job is to stay alive. And I'm starting to think your plan doesn't accomplish that. Is this about Torres? My blood went cold. What? Alonzo Torres. The Torres organization. We've been tracking their movements. They've been surveilling Valdez operations for months. And last night, Torres himself showed up at your club. Did he approach you? I could lie. Should lie. But Agent Brooks already knew. He made me an offer. What kind of offer? Protection. In exchange for cooperation. Absolutely not. Diane, the Torres organization is just as dangerous as the Valdez cartel. More so because they're smarter about it. Getting involved with them would be what? Safer than trusting witness protection to keep me hidden forever? Smarter than assuming Rafael will just forget about me. It would be trading one cage for another. Torres doesn't offer protection. He offers ownership. And once you're in his organization, you don't get out. Maybe I don't want out. Maybe I want to actually fight back instead of hiding for the rest of my life. Diane. I'm not making any decisions yet. I'm just considering my options. That's all. I stood. I'll see you Monday for the testimony. Unless I decide there's a better way. If you get involved with Torres, if you compromise this case, I can't protect you. The FBI can't protect you. Maybe I don't need your protection anymore. I hung up. My hands were shaking. I just essentially told the FBI I might not cooperate, might not testify. That was dangerous. Possibly stupid. But something about Agent Brooks' response bothered me. He'd been too quick to warn me off Torres. Too insistent that witness protection was my only option. I opened my laptop. Started searching. Agent Leonard Brooks. 15 years with the FBI. Solid record. Multiple commendations. But also assigned to organized crime for a decade. Deep in the world of cartels and mafia families and the kind of corruption that destroyed good people. How did someone stay clean in that world for 10 years? I dug deeper. Found mentions of cases he'd handled. Convictions he'd secured. And gaps. Periods where his cases had fallen apart. Where witnesses had disappeared or evidence had been compromised. Maybe it was bad luck. Maybe it was the nature of investigating organized crime. Or maybe Agent Brooks wasn't as clean as he appeared. My phone buzzed. Text from Elena, my friend at the club. Weird night.
Some guys were asking about you.
Wanted to know your schedule. I didn't tell them anything but girl, be careful. My stomach dropped.
Raphael's people.
They'd found the club. Found people who knew me. I was running out of time. Another text. Unknown number. Change of plans. Come tonight instead of tomorrow. Things are accelerating.
We need to move faster.
I should have said no. I should have told Alonzo I needed more time. Instead, I texted back. What happened? His response was immediate. Your friend Elena is being questioned by men who work for Raphael. They're closing in. You're not safe anymore.
Come now.
I'll explain everything. I looked around my tiny apartment, at the life I'd built on borrowed time and false identity. I'd been running for 6 months. Maybe it was time to stop running and start fighting. I grabbed my bag. The documents Alonzo had given me. The check I hadn't deposited yet. And I called the car service number he'd provided. I need a pickup.
Now.
The car arrived in 12 minutes. Same driver. Same professional silence. But this time, there was tension. He drove faster. Checked mirrors constantly. The kind of driving that said we were being followed, or expecting to be. Are we in danger? I asked. Mr. Torres has the situation under control. But Ms. Estes, he glanced at me in the rearview mirror. You should know. The Valdez people found your club. They're hunting you actively now. Whatever decision you make tonight, make it fast. Time just ran out. We pulled through the estate gates. More security than before.
Armed men visible at checkpoints.
The casual resort atmosphere had been replaced by something military. I was led inside. Not to the ballroom this time. To a different room. Smaller. More intimate. A dance studio with mirrors and bars and floor-to-ceiling windows that showed the grounds. Alonzo was there. But he wasn't alone. Sophia stood beside him. And a man I didn't recognize. Younger, muscular, with the alert posture of the military or security. Diane, Alonzo said. This is Mateo. My head of security. Mateo, this is Diane Estes. She'll be under our protection starting immediately. Starting immediately? I haven't agreed. Raphael's people hit your club 20 minutes ago. They questioned Elena aggressively. She's safe, we got her out. But they know you worked there. They know what you look like. They're hunting you. Alonzo's voice was calm, but firm. You're not safe in your apartment.
You're not safe with the FBI.
You're safe here. Now. You can't just decide. I can and I did. You're under my protection whether you marry me or not. That decision is still yours. But Diane, you're staying here tonight.
Non negotiable.
Sophia stepped forward. My brother's right. The Valdez cartel doesn't care about witness protection or FBI protocols. They'll kill you the moment they find you. Here, at least, you have a chance. And if I don't want to stay? Then you'll die within 48 hours, Mateo said bluntly. Ma'am, I've been tracking the Valdez operation for months. They've ramped up activity significantly. Whatever you told the FBI, whatever testimony you're planning, they know. And they're moving to eliminate you before you can testify. My legs felt weak. I sat on the floor, couldn't make it to a chair. How did they find out? Someone told them. Someone with access to FBI information and witness schedules. Alonzo knelt beside me. Diane, I think your handler is compromised. Agent Brooks has been feeding information to someone. Maybe the Valdez cartel. Maybe someone else. But you're not safe with him. That's insane. He's FBI. He's human. Humans can be bought.
Threatened.
Compromise. Alonzo pulled out a tablet. Showed me photographs. Agent Brooks meeting with unknown men. Passing envelopes. Accepting payments. We've been surveilling him for weeks.
He's dirty.
And you've been trusting him with your life. I looked at the photos. At the evidence that the man who was supposed to protect me had been selling me out. Why? My voice came out small. Why would he do that?
Money. Power.
Fear. Does it matter? Sophia's voice was surprisingly gentle. What matters is you're here now. Safe. Protected. You can make decisions from a position of safety instead of panic. I looked around the room. At these three people who were strangers, but were offering something the FBI hadn't. Honest danger instead of false security. If I stay, what happens to my testimony? The case against Raphael? Depends. Do you still want to testify in a government case that might be compromised? Or do you want to help us destroy them completely, permanently, with evidence that actually matters? Alonzo stood, offered me his hand. Your choice. But choose tonight. Tomorrow might be too late. I took his hand. Let him pull me up. Teach me, I said. Teach me how to fight. How to survive in your world. How to be more than a witness hiding behind federal protection. That's what tonight is for. Alonzo gestured to Mateo. He'll teach you basics. Sophia will teach you how our organization works. And his smile was sharp. I want you to dance for me again, but differently this time. How differently? I want you to dance with me. Not for me. With me. As partners. The next 3 hours were the strangest of my life. Mateo taught me basic self-defense. Nothing fancy. Just enough to break a hold, cause pain, create escape opportunities. You're already trained in spatial awareness, he said. After I'd successfully escaped a grip hold, he demonstrated. Dancers understand bodies, physics, leverage. We're just applying it differently. I'm not strong enough to actually fight. You don't need to be strong. You need to be smart and fast. He handed me a small device. Panic button. Press it and my entire team knows exactly where you are. Keep it on you always. Hidden, but accessible. Sophia taught me about the Torres organization, the legitimate businesses that fronted criminal operations, the network of allies and enemies, the delicate balance of power that kept them safe. Marriage in our world isn't romance, she said bluntly. It's alliance, protection,
Partnership.
When my brother offers to marry you, he's offering you his name, his resources, his protection. But he's also asking for yours, your loyalty. Your strength. Your intelligence. I don't have resources to offer. You have information about the Valdez cartel. You have the courage to testify against them. You have the strength to survive 6 months with Raphael. Sophia looked at me directly. You have more power than you realize. The question is whether you're brave enough to use it. Finally, Alonzo returned. The dance studio had been transformed. Soft lighting. Music already playing. Something slow but powerful. Your turn, he said. Dance with me. I don't know how to dance with a partner.
I trained contemporary, solo.
Then we'll figure it out together. That's what partnership is. He extended his hand. Trust me. I took his hand. What followed wasn't a traditional dance. It was negotiation through movement. He'd lead, I'd counter.
Ide iniziata ed respond.
We were feeling each other out, testing boundaries, finding rhythm. And somewhere in that dance, something shifted. I stopped thinking of him as a mafia boss offering a business arrangement. Started seeing him as a person. Someone who'd lost his parents violently. Someone who'd spent 10 years planning revenge. Someone who was offering me a choice instead of just taking what he wanted. The music ended. We stood in the center of the studio, still holding hands, both breathing heavily. I started. Different, he finished. You're different than I expected. How so? I thought you'd be more frightened, more hesitant. But you fight even when you're dancing. You challenge yourself even when you're cooperating. He smiled. That's exactly what I need. What do you need, Alonso? Really? Because I don't think it's just to help destroy the Valdez cartel. You're right. It's not. He moved closer. Not threatening. Just a present. I need someone who won't flinch when things get dark. Who won't break when violence touches our lives. Who can stand beside me and face whatever comes without needing constant protection. I'm not that strong. You survived Rafael Valdez. That takes more strength than you realize. His hand touched my face. Gentle. Unexpectedly. You've spent 6 months thinking you're broken. You're not. You're a survivor who's about to become something more. What's that? My partner. My wife. My equal. He pulled back slightly. But only if you choose it. I won't force you. Won't manipulate you. The choice is entirely yours. And if I say no, then I'll protect you anyway. Hide you.
Keep you safe.
And let you go when it's safe to do so. He smiled. But Diane, I don't think you'll say no. Because I think you're tired of hiding. I think you want to fight. And I think you recognize that we're stronger together than apart. He was right. About all of it. I have conditions, I said. Name them. I need to know you're not using me as bait. That this marriage is real, not just strategy. It's both. It's strategic and real. Is that acceptable? I need autonomy. I'm not going to be controlled or owned or... You'll have complete autonomy. You'll make your own decisions. I'll consult you on mine. We'll be partners in the truest sense. And after the Valdez cartel is destroyed, what then? Then you're free to stay or leave. The marriage will be real and binding, but if you want out, we'll divorce. Amicably. With you keeping everything in your name. You'd really let me go? I'd rather have you choose to stay. But yes, if you want to leave, I'll let you go. Because forcing someone to stay isn't a partnership. It's a prison. I thought about Rafael. About how he'd kept me through fear and control. About how leaving him had required running to the FBI. Alonso was offering something completely different. Okay, I said. I'll marry you. But not tomorrow. Not yet. I need one more night. One more performance. To be absolutely sure. Tomorrow night then. Final performance. Final decision. Final decision. Sophia showed me to a guest room, more like a suite, with a bedroom, bathroom, sitting area. You'll stay here tonight. Guards outside your door. No one gets in without authorization.
She paused.
My brother's a good man. Dangerous, but good. He'll keep his promises to you. Do you approve of this marriage? I think you're either very brave or very stupid. Maybe both. Sophia smiled slightly. But you stood up to me. You didn't flinch during self-defense training. You challenged my brother during the dance instead of just following his lead. That takes courage. So yes, I approve. Conditionally. What's the condition? Don't break his heart. He'd never admit it, but he's been alone for 10 years. Focused only on revenge. You're the first person he's let close. If you're just using him for protection and planning to leave, tell him now. Don't wait until he's invested. I'm not using him. Good. Because if you are, I meant what I said earlier. I will kill you. She said it pleasantly, like she was discussing the weather. Sleep well. Tomorrow's a big day. After she left, I sat on the edge of the huge bed and tried to process everything. 24 hours ago, I'd been preparing for my last night dancing before disappearing into witness protection. Now I was in a mafia boss's guest room, preparing to marry him, planning to help him destroy the cartel that had nearly destroyed me. My phone buzzed. Agent Brooks. Diane, we need to talk.
Call me immediately.
This is urgent. I stared at the message, thought about the photographs Alonzo had shown me, the evidence that Brooks was compromised. I didn't call. Instead, I texted back, "I'm safe. I'll contact you when I'm ready." His response was immediate. "If you're with Torres, you're making the biggest mistake of your life. He's dangerous, unpredictable. He'll use you and discard you." I turned off my phone. Tomorrow, I'd dance one more time, and then I'd decide, finally and completely, who I wanted to be. The frightened girl hiding in witness protection? Or the woman who fought back? The FBI handler is corrupt? Raphael's people are actively hunting her? And she just agreed to marry Alonzo after one more performance? Subscribe because night 3 is when everything explodes, and I'm not even joking. People die, truths come out, and the dance performance becomes an actual battlefield. You cannot miss this. I woke up at dawn to shouting, scrambled out of bed, still in the clothes I'd fallen asleep in, and opened my door to find chaos. Security running. Alonzo's voice, sharp and commanding. Sophia responding in rapid Spanish. Mateo appeared. "Ms. Estes, stay in your room." "What's happening?" "Rafael Valdez just hit one of our warehouses. Killed 3 people. Left a message." "What message?" "That he's coming for his property. And he wants you back by tonight, or he starts a war." My stomach dropped. "He knows I'm here." "Not specifically. But he knows you're under our protection." Brooks told him. "How do you know?" "Because Brooks called Rafael 30 minutes ago. We've been monitoring his phone. He told Rafael exactly where you've been and who you're with. Then he called his FBI superiors and suggested a joint raid on this estate. Tonight. While we're distracted by Rafael's threats. He's trying to get us both killed."
Exactly.
2 rival organizations destroy each other. He walks away clean, probably with a promotion and a significant payment from whoever hired him to sabotage this. I pushed past Mateo. Found Alonzo in his office, staring at maps and photographs spread across his desk. "I'm sorry," I said. "This is my fault. If I hadn't come here, you'd be dead." Brooks would have made sure of it. Alonzo looked up. "This isn't your fault. This is Rafael being who he's always been, violent, possessive, and stupid enough to think threatening me will work." "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to destroy him. Tonight. During your final performance." He stood. "We're moving up the timeline. You'll dance tonight. But not here. Somewhere Rafael can find us. Somewhere we control completely. And we'll end this. You're using me as bait. I'm using both of us as bait. We're going to make Rafael think he's walking into an ambush of you, when actually he's walking into his own execution." Alonzo moved around the desk. "But Diane, this is dangerous. More dangerous than anything I've asked of you so far. If you want out, if you want me to hide you somewhere safe while I handle this, say so now."
No. No.
"No, I'm not hiding. No, I don't want out. I want to face him. I want to be there when you destroy him. My voice broke. I want him to see that I'm not his anymore. That I'm not scared. That I won. Then we do this together. As partners." "As partners." Sophia burst in. "We have a problem. The FBI is moving faster than we thought. They've got approval for the raid. It's happening tonight at 8 p.m. Perfect. That gives us 4 hours." Alonzo looked at me. "Can you choreograph something in 4 hours? A performance that looks beautiful, but is actually tactical?" "What do you mean?" "I mean a dance where every movement is a signal. Where you're directing our people without Rafael realizing. Where the performance is actually a battle plan." I thought about it. About how movement could be language. How dancers communicated through choreography.
Yes.
"I can do that. But I need to teach your security team the signals. They need to understand the language. Then teach them. You have 3 hours. Mateo will coordinate. The next 3 hours were insane. I choreographed a 6-minute performance. Contemporary fusion with elements of ballet, modern, and the aggressive style I danced my first night. But every movement meant something. Spin to the left. Security Team A moves to east positions. Leap and land. Security Team B engages targets. Floor work. Everyone takes cover. Rise and extend. All clear, advance. It was beautiful, and it was brutal. A dance that told a story of captivity and freedom while simultaneously directing a coordinated attack. Mateo's team learned fast. Military precision applied to interpreting artistic movement. "This is insane," one of them said. "We're taking tactical orders from interpretive dance." "And it's going to work," Mateo said. "Because no one will expect it. They'll think she's dancing. We'll know she's commanding." Sophia pulled me aside. "Are you sure about this? Once this starts, there's no going back. People will die tonight. Maybe you. Maybe my brother. Maybe all of us. I'm sure."
Why?
"Why risk your life for revenge against a man who's already destroyed?" "Because he took 6 months of my life. Made me afraid to use my own name. Forced me into hiding. And I want him to know, really know, that he didn't break me. That I'm stronger now than I was when I was with him." Sophia studied with me, then smiled. "You're definitely going to survive in this family. Welcome, sister." The location was a warehouse the Torres organization owned. Empty. Cavernous. Perfect acoustics for music. Perfect sight lines for security. Perfect killing ground. We arrived at 7 p.m. with a security team in place. Hidden positions. Weapons ready, but concealed. Alonso had spread word through his network that he'd be meeting with his new fiancée at this location. Private performance. Intimate gathering. Information that would definitely reach Rafael. Information designed to draw him out. "He'll come," Alonso said. "He's too obsessed with you not to. And he's too arrogant to think it's a trap." "And the FBI? They'll arrive at 8 p.m. expecting to raid my estate. They'll find it empty. By the time they regroup and figure out where we actually are, this will be over." "And Brooks? I've invited him personally. Told him I know he's dirty, and I want to make a deal. He'll come because he thinks he can salvage his operation. What he doesn't know is that we've been recording every conversation, every phone call, every meeting. He's done." I changed into my performance outfit. Black. Flexible. Beautiful. With hidden pockets for the small knife Mateo had given me. "Just in case," he'd said. "If anyone gets past US and reaches you, you can defend yourself." The music started. I took my position in the center of the warehouse. And I waited. They came at 7:45 p.m. Rafael first. With 10 armed men. Confidence. Smirking. Looking at me like I was already his. "There's my girl," he called out, his voice echoing in the empty space. "Did you really think you could hide from me? Did you think this amateur would protect you?" Alonso stepped forward.
Rafael Valdez.
"So glad you could make it. You're Torres. The one trying to take my territory. The one who thinks he can steal my woman." "I'm not stealing anything. Diane chose to be here. Chose to be under my protection. Chose to help me destroy you."
Rafael laughed.
"She didn't choose anything. She's mine. She's always been mine. And tonight, I'm taking her back. Try." The music changed. My cue. I began dancing. Beautiful. Fluid. Telling a story of chains breaking and freedom won. And with every movement, directing a war.
Rafael watched, mesmerized.
He'd always loved watching me dance. Had thought it meant I was soft. Controllable. He had no idea each spin, each leap, each gesture was a tactical command. Agent Brooks arrived at 7:52. Flanked by 2 men I didn't recognize. Not FBI. Probably Rafael's people pretending to be law enforcement. "Torres," Brooks called out. "This is over. You're under arrest for For what? Being in my own warehouse? Watching my fiancé dance? Alonzo's smile was sharp. Agent Brooks. Or should I say, former Agent Brooks. Once the FBI hears the recordings we have of you coordinating with the Valdez cartel, accepting payments, sabotaging investigations, you'll be lucky if you only lose your job. Brooks went pale. You're bluffing. Am I? Alonzo pulled out his phone. Played audio. Brooks's voice clearly coordinating with Raphael. Discussing payments. Planning to eliminate the witness and Torres at the same time. That's fabricated. It's evidence. And it's already been sent to your superiors. You're done.
Ispun.
The signal for security to engage. Raphael's men pulled weapons. So did Alonzo's. Nobody has to die tonight, Alonzo said calmly. Raphael, you can walk away. Take your men. Disappear. I'll even let you keep your territories south of the river. Or you can fight, and by morning, the Valdez cartel will be finished. Raphael's answer was to pull his own gun. I'm not leaving without her. She's mine. I stopped dancing. Stood in the center of the warehouse. Looked directly at Raphael. I was never yours, I said clearly. I survived. I was fear. I was a woman who didn't know she had options. But I'm not that anymore. You think Torres is better than me? He's a criminal. So are you. The difference is he offered me a partnership. You offered ownership. He asked what I wanted. You took what you wanted. He made me stronger. You tried to make me smaller. If you don't come with me right now, I will kill everyone in this room. No. Sophia's voice came from the shadows. You won't. She stepped forward. Gun trained on Raphael. Behind her, more security. Surrounding Raphael's people completely. You walked into our territory. Threatened our family. That was your mistake. Sophia's voice was ice. Any last words? Raphael looked at me. You're going to regret this. I'll haunt you. Every day. Every night. You'll never be free. I'm already free. I made the final gesture. The one that meant. End it. Gunfire erupted. I dropped to the floor, choreographed, part of the performance, but also survival. When the shooting stopped, Raphael was down. So were most of his men. Brooks tried to run. Mateo stopped him. I don't think so. You've got a lot of questions to answer. The police arrived at 8:15. Real police. Not the corrupt ones Brooks had planned to bring. Officers Alonzo had already contacted with evidence of Brooks's crimes and Raphael's operations. Self-defense, Alonzo told them calmly. Rafael Valdez attacked my property. Threatened my people. We defended ourselves. It's all on camera.
And it was.
Every angle recorded, showing clearly that Raphael had drawn first, had threatened, had forced the confrontation. By 10 p.m. it was over. Raphael died. Brooks was arrested. The Valdez cartel's leadership decimated. And I stood in that warehouse, still in my performance outfit, realizing I'd just directed a war through interpretive dance. That, Alonzo said, approaching me carefully, was the most incredible thing I've ever seen. I choreographed an execution. You protected yourself. You protected all of us. You turned your art into a weapon and your trauma into strength. He pulled me close. You're extraordinary. I should have felt guilty. Should have felt horrified that people had died based on my movements. Instead, I felt free. 1 week later, I stood in Alonzo's study, looking at the evidence we'd compiled against the Valdez cartel. Raphael was dead. But his father, his brothers, his entire organization, they were still operational. Still dangerous. This isn't over, I said.
No.
But we've broken their leadership. Taken their territories. And with Brooks's testimony, he's cooperating now, trying to reduce his sentence. We have enough to dismantle them completely. Alonzo pulled up files on his computer. Financial records. Trafficking routes. Political connections. Everything we need to destroy them legally. Why not just, I stopped. Kill them all? I could. But that would trigger a war. Other cartels would see opportunity. The power vacuum would create chaos.
He looked at me.
I'm trying to build something sustainable. Something that doesn't require constant violence. Using the law against them is smarter. When did you become so strategic? When I watched my parents die because my father was too emotional, too reactive. He refused to do business with the Valdez cartel and they killed him for it. I learned from his mistake. Strategy beats emotion every time. Except with me. What? With me, you're emotional. You protected me before you had to. Offered marriage before it was strategic. Risked your entire organization to destroy Raphael when you could have just let the FBI handle him. I moved closer. Why? Because he stopped. Started again. Because the moment you danced that first night, I saw something I'd forgotten existed. Someone who turned pain into art. Who fought without fists. Who survived without becoming hard. He touched my face. You reminded me that strength comes in forms I'd stopped recognizing. That's almost romantic. I'm not a romantic man, but I am a man who recognizes value, who understands partnership, who wants to build something with someone who challenges me. Is that what I do? Challenge you. Constantly. You question my decisions. You refuse to be controlled. You turned a marriage proposal into a negotiation. He smiled. That's exactly what I need. What do you need, Alonzo? Really? I need you to marry me. Tonight.
Properly.
Not as a strategy. Not as protection. But because we're better together than apart. Because I respect you more than anyone I've ever met. Because he took a breath. Because I'm in love with you. The words hung between us. You barely know me. I know you survived 6 months with a man who tried to break you. I know you went to the FBI when you could have just disappeared. I know you danced for me 3 times, each time revealing more of who you really are. I know you choreographed a tactical assault through interpretive dance and watched men die without flinching. I know. He pulled me closer. I know you're the strongest person I've ever met.
And I want you beside me.
Always.
I'm scared.
Of me? Of this? Of wanting this? Of believing it's real when everything in my life has taught me that love is just pretty packaging for control? Then let me prove it's different. Marry me. Not because you need protection, you're safe now. Not because it's strategic, the Valdez cartel is broken. Marry me because you want to, because you choose to, because you're ready to build something real with someone who sees you completely. I thought about Raphael, about how he'd made me feel small and scared and worthless. I thought about Alonzo, about how he'd made me feel seen and strong and possible. Okay, I said. Let's get married. Tonight. On my terms. Name them. Small ceremony. Just family.
No spectacle.
No performance. Just us making a choice. Done. And afterward, I want to open a dance studio. Teach other survivors. Women who need to learn that their bodies can be weapons and art simultaneously. I'll fund it. You run it. Whatever you need. And I want autonomy.
Complete autonomy.
I'll be your wife, your partner, but not your possession. You'll never be my possession. You'll be my equal. Then yes, I'll marry you tonight. Sophia organized everything in 4 hours. Small ceremony in the estate's garden. Just family, Sophia, Mateo, a few trusted associates. Officiant who asked no questions about the speed or circumstances. I wore a dress Sophia had helped me choose. White but not traditional. Elegant but movable. I looked like a bride. I felt like a warrior. Alonzo wore a suit that made him look less like a mafia boss and more like a man getting married because he wanted to. The ceremony was brief. Traditional vows with one addition. I promise to see you, I said. To respect you. To challenge you when you're wrong and support you when you're right. To be your partner in all things. To never make you smaller to make myself bigger. I promise to protect you without controlling you, Alonzo said. To trust you without testing you. To love you without owning you. To build a life where you're free to be everything you are. We kissed. Not desperate. Not possessive. Just two people choosing each other. Sophia hugged me afterward. Welcome to the family. Officially. Don't make me regret supporting this. I'll try not to. And Diane? Thank you. For what? For making my brother human again. For reminding him that power, without connection, is just loneliness. For being brave enough to challenge him. She smiled. You're good for him. For all of us. The reception was small.
Dinner.
Dancing. Actual dancing, not tactical warfare. Alonzo held me close during a slow song. How does it feel, being married to a mafia boss? Surreal. Being married to someone who loves you? Terrifying. And right.
Good.
Because, Diane, this is just the beginning. We have a cartel to dismantle, a city to reshape, a life to build, and a dance studio to open. That too. I leaned my head against his chest. Thank you. For what? For seeing me. For offering me choice when everyone else offered control. For making me believe I could be strong. You've always been strong. I just gave you permission to show it. They actually got married? They destroyed the cartel and got married? And she's opening a dance studio to teach other survivors?
I'm emotional.
Subscribe because the next chapters show their first year as partners, and it's everything. Building an empire, fighting new enemies, and proving that sometimes the best revenge is becoming more powerful than the people who hurt you. 6 months after our wedding, I opened Liberation Movement Arts.
Not just a dance studio.
A training facility. A safe house. A place where survivors of abuse, trafficking, and violence could learn to turn their bodies into weapons and their trauma into strength. I taught contemporary dance.
Sophia taught business.
Mateo taught self-defense. And together, we created something unprecedented, a program that transformed victims into fighters through art. This is incredible, one of my students said. Sarah, 22, had escaped a trafficking ring with help from one of the Torres organization's legitimate security companies. I didn't know dancing could make me feel powerful. All art is power, I told her. You're learning language your body already knows. We're just helping you listen. The studio was funded entirely by Alonzo's legitimate businesses. No criminal money. No dirty funding. Just clean resources used to help people who needed it. You're building something remarkable, Alonzo said, watching a class through the observation window. This is already changing lives. That's the point. I was powerless once. Now I'm not. And I want to help other people feel the same way. You're not powerless. You never were. You just didn't have resources.
Exactly.
Resources create options. Options create freedom. I want to give people what you gave me. He pulled me close. I didn't give you anything. You took what you needed and built something from it. There's a difference. Then I want to teach people how to take, how to demand, how to refuse to be small. That's revolutionary. That's survival. But our life wasn't just the studio. Alonzo and I worked together to dismantle what remained of the Valdez cartel. Used the evidence Brooks had provided. Worked with federal prosecutors who weren't corrupt. Watched as Rafael's father and brothers were arrested, charged, and eventually convicted. The Valdez organization was destroyed.
Completely.
Permanently. And the Torres organization took over their territories. Not through violence. Through strategy. Offering better terms. Better protection. Better business practices. You're legitimizing, I told Alonzo one night. We were in his study, our study now, reviewing expansion plans.
I'm evolving.
There's a difference. Is there? Because these plans look like you're moving entirely into legitimate business. That's the goal. Use criminal resources to build legal infrastructure. Then phase out the criminal elements. In 10 years, the Torres organization will be completely legitimate. And you'll be what? A regular businessman? A businessman married to an extraordinary woman who teaches people how to fight through interpretive dance. He smiled. Sounds pretty good to me. What about your enemies? The people who want to take over? They can try, but we're smarter, more strategic, and we have something they don't. What's that? Each other. The first real threat came 8 months after our wedding. A rival organization from Miami, the Ruiz family. They saw the power vacuum left by the Valdez cartel and wanted it for themselves. They approached through official channels first. Offers of partnership, territory sharing, alliance through marriage. They had sons. They suggested one could marry into the Torres family. Alonzo declined politely. We were building something different. Something that didn't require constant alliance negotiations. They didn't take it well. They're planning to hit us, Mateo reported one morning. 3 different targets. The studio, our main warehouse, and the estate. They're going after my wife, Alonzo said flatly. That's a mistake. They think she's your weakness. That threatening her will make you negotiate. They're right that she matters. Wrong that she's a weakness. I was in the room, had heard everything. Let them come, I said. Both men looked at me. Diane, this isn't like Rafael. The Ruiz family is organized, professional, dangerous. So are we. And I'm not hiding while they threaten everything we've built. I stood. I have an idea, but you're both going to think it's crazy. Try us, Alonzo said. My idea was to turn the studio into a trap. The Ruiz family expected to find defenseless women learning to dance. They'd come in heavy, planning to send a message by hurting my students. What they'd actually find was a facility full of women who'd learned to fight, who'd been trained by Mateo's security team, who'd been taught that dancing and fighting were the same language. You want to use your students as soldiers, Sophia said flatly. I want to give them the option. Anyone who wants to leave, leaves. Anyone who wants to stay and fight. We train them properly. We give them weapons. We let them defend what we've built together. That's insane. That's community defense. That's turning victims into warriors. That's exactly what we've been teaching them for months. Now we let them apply it. Alonzo was quiet for a long moment. Then, if we do this, we do it right. Full training. Real weapons. Exit strategies for anyone who can't handle it. And Diane, you're not on the front line. You direct, like you did with Rafael. But you don't engage directly. That's not fair. It's strategic. You're more valuable coordinating than fighting. And if anything happens to you, his voice cracked slightly. I can't function.
So no.
You direct. Others execute. That's non-negotiable. I wanted to argue, but he was right. I was better at strategy than combat. Okay, I'll direct. But Alonzo, we need to make sure anyone who fights is truly choosing it. Not feeling pressured. Not trying to prove anything. Really choosing. Agreed. I presented the option to my students the next morning. The Ruiz family is planning to attack the studio. To hurt you to send a message to me and my husband. You have 2 choices. Leave now, with our help, relocate to safety, and come back when this is over. Or stay, train properly, and help us defend what we've built together. Silence. 30 women processing what I just said. Then Sarah stood.
I'm staying.
I didn't escape trafficking just to run from another threat. Teach me how to fight properly. I'm in. One by one, others stood.
Not all of them.
Some chose to leave, and I made sure they had safe places to go. But 20 women stayed. 20 survivors who decided they were done running. We had 3 days to prepare. Mateo trained them in firearms, hand-to-hand combat, tactical positioning. I taught them how to move, how to use space, how to make their dance training translate to combat effectiveness. Sophia taught them strategy. how to think 3 moves ahead, how to recognize patterns, how to survive not just the battle but what came after. And Alonzo provided resources, weapons, body armor, communications equipment, everything we needed to turn a dance studio into a fortress. "This is the craziest thing we've ever done," Sophia said the night before the attack. "It's also the most important. If we can defend our own people, if we can turn survivors into defenders, we change everything. Or we get them all killed. Then we make sure that doesn't happen." The Ruiz family came at dawn. 20 men,
Armed.
professional, expecting to walk into a soft target. Instead, they walked into a coordinated defense. My students were positioned throughout the studio,
Hidden.
waiting, each one paired with one of Mateo's security team. I was in the control room, a converted office with monitors showing every angle, wearing a headset, connected to everyone. They're approaching from 3 sides. Mateo's voice came through. "Teams in position?" "North team ready," Sarah's voice. Steady, confident. "East team ready. South team ready." "Remember," I said into the headset. "Wait for my signal. Let them get inside. Let them think they've won. Then we show them what liberation really looks like." The Ruiz men broke down the front door, swept inside, weapons raised. Found an empty studio. Just music playing. Lights on. No people visible.
"This is wrong," one of them said.
"Where is everyone?" "It's a trap," another realized. "Too late." "Now," I said calmly. The students emerged. From behind barrels. From storage rooms. From concealed positions. Each one armed. Each one trained. Each one chooses to fight. "You came to hurt victims," Sarah said, her voice carrying through the studio. "You're leaving in body bags." What followed was brief. Brutal.
Precise.
The Ruiz men had expected frightened women. Had gotten trained fighters. Within 10 minutes, it was over.
15 Ruiz operatives captured.
5 fled. 0 casualties on our side. The police arrived to find a legitimate self-defense situation. The Ruiz family had attacked. We defended. All documented. All legal. "This is going to send a message," Sophia said, surveying the aftermath. "That attacking Torres family assets isn't worth the cost." "Good," Alonzo said. "That's exactly the message I want sent." 3 months later, the Ruiz family sued for peace. Offered formal alliance. Territory sharing. Mutual defense agreements. Alonzo accepted. On his terms. And the studio expanded. More locations. More students. More survivors learning that their bodies could be weapons and sanctuaries simultaneously. I stood on the stage of our largest studio, watching a performance by our advanced students. Contemporary fusion that told stories of captivity and freedom, pain and power. Alonzo stood beside me. "You've built an army. I've built a community. There's a difference." "Is there?" "These women would die for you. Would kill for you. That's an army. These women would die for themselves. For each other. For what we represent. That's not an army. That's a revolution." "Then I'm glad to be part of it." I leaned against him. "Did you ever imagine this? When you walked into that club and saw me dancing, did you imagine it would lead here?"
"No."
"I imagined destruction. Revenge. Justice through violence." He pulled me closer. "I didn't imagine building something. Creating something that helps people. Learning to be more than what my parents' death made me." "What did it make you?"
"Angry.
Focused. Dedicated to revenge and nothing else. You changed that. You showed me that power could be generative. That strength could protect instead of destroy." "I didn't do that. You chose that. You made the choice possible." The performance ended. Applause. My students bow. Looking powerful and beautiful and completely free. "Thank you," I said quietly. "For what?" "For seeing me that first night. For offering me a choice when everyone else offered control. for building this life with me, for proving that monsters can become men and victims can become warriors. I'm still a monster sometimes.
So am I.
But we're monsters who protect people, who build things, who chooses love over revenge and strategy over violence when possible. That's better than I thought I'd ever be. That's better than both of us thought we'd ever be. 1 year later, I stood backstage at a legitimate theater. Real performance. Professional critics in attendance. My students on stage, performing a piece we'd choreographed together about survival and resistance and becoming whole. The audience included Sophia, Matteo, and dozens of women who'd come through our program. And Alonzo, front row, watching like he had that first night, but differently now, with pride instead of assessment, with love instead of calculation. The performance ended. Standing ovation. Critics wiping tears. Students bowing and crying and looking at each other like they couldn't believe they'd done it. I joined them on stage for the curtain call, not as their teacher, as their partner, their sister in survival. That, the lead critic wrote in his review, was not just dance. It was revolution, a declaration that trauma doesn't define us, that survival is an art form, that becoming whole is a performance worth applauding. Backstage, Alonzo found me. You're going to be famous, legitimately famous. Critics are calling you a visionary. I'm just a dancer who learned to fight. You're more than that. You're a teacher who helps others fight. A wife who challenges me to be better. A revolutionary who's changing how people think about survival. He pulled me close. You're extraordinary. We're extraordinary. Together.
Together.
2 years after that first night in Velvet Underground, I stood in the same club. Not hiding. Not performing as Maya Rivers. As myself. Diane Torres. Professional dancer. Studio owner. Mafia wife. All of it is visible. All of it mine. I was there for a charity benefit. Liberation Movement Arts fundraiser. The club had donated the space. Elena found me. My friend from those hiding days. I can't believe you came back here, she said. Why not? This is where it started. Where Alonzo first saw me. Where I decided to stop running. You've changed so much. I've just stopped hiding. That's the biggest change there is. The performance started. New students. Young survivors. Dancing their stories of escape and strength. Alonzo watched from the same table where he'd sat 2 years ago. But not alone this time. Sophia beside him. Matteo. Other family members. A community we'd built from violence and revenge, and 2 people deciding they could be better together. After the performance, he found me. Dance with me. One more time. Like that second night. We moved to the empty floor. Music playing. Others watching. Not judging. Just witnessing.
And we danced.
Not a choreographed routine. Just 2 people moving together. Finding rhythm. Testing boundaries. Trusting each other to lead and follow equally. When the music ended, he said, I love you. I know. Say it back. I love you too. Even though you're still occasionally a criminal. Reformed criminal. Reforming. There's a difference. Fair enough. He kissed me. What do you want to do next? Next. We've destroyed our enemies. Built a life. Created something meaningful. What's next? I thought about it. About the students who were becoming teachers. About the studio expanding. About the possibility of reaching more survivors. More, I said simply. I want more. More students. More locations. More women learning they can be powerful. More communities built from shared trauma and collective strength. Then that's what we'll build. Together. Always together. The end. They told me to run. The FBI said, hide.
Testify.
Disappear. Raphael said, you're mine. You'll always be mine. Alonzo said, dance for me.
Choose me.
Build with me. I chose the most dangerous option. And it set me free. I'm not the frightened girl who ran from abuse. I'm not the witness hiding in protection.
I'm Diane Torres.
Dancer, fighter, teacher, wife. I turned trauma into art and survival into revolution. I'm proof that the best revenge isn't destruction. It's becoming so powerful that your abusers become irrelevant. They wanted me to dance for them.
I dance for myself now.
And that's the difference between captivity and liberation. She went from hiding in witness protection to running a revolutionary dance program. From being a mafia wife by necessity to being one by choice. From performing to survive to performing, because she OWNS the stage. Diane Torres is officially the most empowering character I've ever written. Subscribe because next week's story is about twin sisters who discover they're dating the same man and decide to unite for the most savage, coordinated revenge you've ever seen. It's going to be unhinged.
See you there.
Real talk time. Was it right for Diane to use her students as defenders in the Ruiz attack, or should she have protected them by sending them away? A. It was right. She gave them choice and empowered them. B. It was wrong. She put vulnerable people in danger. C. Both. It was complicated and there was no perfect answer. D. None of that matters because she choreographed tactical warfare through interpretive dance, and that's the coolest thing ever. Drop your answer below. And more importantly, would you have accepted Alonzo's 3-night proposal or walked away immediately? Also, Diane turning her trauma into a program that helps other survivors, most satisfying character arc ever, or should she have just lived quietly after destroying Raphael? Sound off in the comments. This story made me believe that art can be resistance and survival can be beautiful. What about you?